I begin today by acknowledging the Turrbal and Yagara peoples, traditional custodians on the land on which we gather today. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. Good morning. I'm Kylie Leonard. I'm the Associate Publisher at ADM Group. Welcome to the first Brisbane ADM Women in Defence and National Security event. We like to call it WIDN. It's proudly hosted by event partner, I've Got Your 6 Foundation, so thank you very much. This is the 8th event in the WIDN series, which only started in June last year. The event series has really resonated with our community, and my back of a notebook, germ of an idea, actually it was an envelope, but I don't like saying that, has grown more rapidly than I could possibly have imagined. There are events in the pipeline for every month this year across the country, all the way from Melbourne through to Cairns, and possibly Perth, but that's a bit of a secret. Keep an eye on the website and our socials for all the details. There are just 3 simple guidelines behind each of the WIDN events. Real defence topics, but from a female perspective. Somebody pointed out that there are lots of people out there who can discuss women's issues. There are lots of people out there who can discuss defence issues, but we're really the only people who can do both at the same time. Time that works for women, with school-age kids in particular, and be at absolutely no cost for you to be here, thanks to our sponsors. I need to give a really big shout out to those sponsors and the companies and organisations that partnered with us to make all of this possible. I can't do it without their help. Thank you to Christina and the I've Got You Foundation for this morning. If you want to know more about the amazing work that Christina and the Foundation are doing for veterans, female veterans in particular, or via the NDIS scheme, please make sure that you have time to have a chat with her. Christina's just here. Today we're here to discuss life transitions. To get the conversation started while you enjoy your breakfast, let's have a very brief look at what that might mean. There are the obvious physical transitions during life: babyhood, childhood, the oh so fun years of puberty, adulthood, parenthood, for some of us menopause, and then older age. Then there are the transitions we go through as we move through our working life. The nerves of that very first job, the weighing up and transition to a new employer. In the case of Gen Z, this is predicted to be 18 different jobs across 6 completely different careers. Leaving the workplace for parental leave, returning to work after a career gap. That slow and subtle transition from being a child cared for by a parent to a child caring for a parent. Relocations, moving house across a suburb, a state or a country. In the defence context, there's the not always easy transition from serving member of the ADF in uniform to civilian and veteran. To get you all kick-started about what you might want to discuss over your breakfast, here's a brief summary of my life in terms of transitions. 4 primary schools across 2 states, high school, University of Queensland for an IT and pure maths degree. Moved to Newcastle for work, back to Brisbane to take up a public service role. Marriage, coming up to 30 years in September, to an engineer. 2 private industry positions, IT consulting business with my husband. Career break to have a family. It turned into an 11-year career break, as our youngest daughter is on the spectrum and needed a lot of support when she was younger. Moved to Utah for 2.5 years. When my husband got one of those, we were relocating 3 people from the Brisbane office to Lyndon, Utah. Oh, and by the way, they don't know it yet, but everybody else is surplus to requirements. And you have 6 weeks to get there with a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. Volunteer teacher aid work at my daughter's school in Utah. Moved back to Brisbane, moved house twice. Went through a huge transition process when our youngest daughter received her autism spectrum diagnosis. Applied for a part-time database administrator admin support job at Yaffa Media. And while the job title and the role have obviously changed completely, I'm still with them 11 years later. Midlife and all the joys those physical changes bring. Children finishing school and off to uni. The youngest, the one on the autism spectrum, has moved to Tasmania to become a maritime engineer. Just this week, losing my dad, and with that came the realisation that my mum now needs the level of care I needed as an adolescent. Yet another life transition. So please enjoy your breakfast, have a think about your life transitions, and share with your table companions what you feel comfortable sharing. Thank you. It's my great joy to introduce our first speaker for today, Kelly Hopkins. I agree, I think we're very lucky to have Kelly here with us today. She is a Director of Defence at Hayes, where she is dedicated for over 15 years to shaping workforce strategies and driving impactful initiatives across the defence sector. As the leader of Hayes' National Defence Team, Kelly oversees strategic partnerships, talent solutions, with a strong focus on supporting veteran employment and transition. She works closely with clients and veteran organisations to raise awareness, build inclusive hiring practices and create sustainable career pathways for veterans within the defence industry and beyond. Kelly is also the co-lead for WIDN, Hayes ANZ Female Empowerment Group, championing gender equality and leadership development across the organisation. She was instrumental in creating Hayes Veteran Program, which has since been adopted by the UK business, fostering a global community of support and opportunity for ex-service personnel. Kelly was a finalist in the 2025 Prime Minister's Awards in the category of Champion of Veteran Employment. In collaboration with Tim and Kate Walmsley from Bench On, Kelly co-founded and runs Meet the Primes, a free initiative now featured through AMDA Defence conferences. This program connects SMEs with prime contractors to accelerate innovation and supply chain integration in Australia's defence sector. And if that's not enough, she is deeply embedded in the defence ecosystem. Kelly serves as the South East Brisbane Director for this Defence Industry Networking, an Ambassador for Defence in Business, the Queensland Ambassador for the Women in Defence Association, Board Member and Secretary for Defence Kids Charity, Board Member and Co-founder and Company Secretary for VetX. A recognised specialist in human capital, Kelly provides expert insights into STEM talent acquisition, workforce planning, data analysis, attraction strategies, and diversity and inclusion. Her work extends into national security, where she plays a key role in fostering collaboration, building strategic connections across the defence and security landscape. Please welcome Kelly to the microphone.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I just had to point out to you all that I've taken my shoes off. I can't adult today. I didn't realise the stockings and heels would not work, so welcome to how I do things. And I have to read the speech today because my cognitive ability to remember anything currently is very poor. So if I'm looking down a lot, it's because I'm 45 and everything hates me in my body, and we've had a lot of chats today in the room already about 55-year-olds and everything's hating everything, so we're all in a happy space. Good morning. Let me start by saying if life came with a manual, mine was definitely missing pages, possibly a whole middle section, to be honest. Before titles and leadership and strategic influence, my transition started before I even knew the word transition. In my 20s, I felt like something that just happened around me. I wasn't steering anything. I basically was in the back seat of a car with no seatbelt, hoping for the best. Work wasn't a career. Work was simply, I go there, do things, I get paid, and then I live my actual life. I was in a relationship where my main job was to fit, to shrink, soften, compress, generally take up less emotional, physical and spiritual real estate where I should have. I was basically at that stage the human version of hand luggage. And then, because life loves a plot twist, my dad passed away suddenly. In that moment, my ground shifted. It didn't just break my heart, it broke my whole illusion of adulthood. It was something, I thought it was something I could ease into. I felt like the universe said, congratulations, you're up, no handover, good luck. In my 30s, my life wasn't built on choice, it was built on survival. Domestic abuse doesn't look like transition from the outside. But when you're living in it, every day is a crossroads. So I left. No grand movie moment, no Beyonce soundtrack, just me, determination that I didn't know I had, really good friends, and the tiniest spark of belief that life could be a little bit different. Starting again was not glamorous. I'd left houses and businesses with nothing but some grit. It was humbling. I was counting coins in the grocery aisle, but it was also the beginning of finding the version of me that I'd never met before. Then I came to a new town, a new environment, a partner that had a 4-year-old, because life sometimes doesn't give you a soft start, it gives you a toddler. Suddenly I was helping raise another tiny human. I was working, parenting Maddie, juggling drop-offs, late night emails, big feelings, at that point theirs and hers, and trying to remember where I'd left my sanity. Piece by piece, I built more than stability. I built a career. Not because I had a master plan, because I had momentum. I had community and people that believed in me before I truly believed in myself. Somewhere along the way, the biggest transition happened. I stopped being a passenger in my own life and I finally moved into the driver's seat. That's why transitions matter to me. Not because they look tidy on paper, but because when you've lived them in their rawest form, it's messy, disruptive, inconvenient, and ultimately, it was the making of me. When I was younger, I believed in something called the Tuesday myth. That magical moment when you think, on Tuesday, my life will be settled. I'll be organised. My career will click. My home will be clean for more than 14.5 seconds. I will be hydrated and my group chat will be 0. What actually arrived was growth. Because Tuesday is a liar. What arrived was growth. Awkward, inconvenient, powerful growth. Transitions don't wait until you're ready. They show up, unpack their bags, start using your best towel. The work isn't to avoid them, it's to learn from them. Leaving at 30 was a line in the sand. Bravery isn't always loud, sometimes it's a quiet decision, made at 2 a.m. with shaky hands. It was the first time that I chose me, and I have not stopped choosing her since. Promotions mattered, but the real growth came from what I built around my job. Communities, networks, rooms like this one. The work you do outside your job description is often what builds your reputation. It's where your brand is born. Consistent actions, visible impact, and the courage to show up before you're ready. Leadership wasn't a title shift, it was an identity evolution. From managing tasks to shaping purpose. From this isn't my job to this is my impact. From I hope this is good to this is the standard. If you're waiting to feel ready, you'll be waiting for a long time. I didn't feel ready and I started anyway, and the readiness just showed up. If there's one transition we don't talk about nearly enough, it's the professional reinventions that women make. Not once, but over and over. Because let's be honest, for many women, a job transition is never just about a job. It's layered, it's emotional, it's logistical, it's identity, economics, childcare schedules, invisible labour. Do I have enough emotional bandwidth for a new login? I've asked myself that many times. It's all of those things rolled into one. And yet women do it constantly. We pivot when industries change, we pivot when families need us, we pivot when we outgrow roles that are just too small, we pivot when staying becomes too dangerous, then our spirit is to leave, and we do it by managing what things, no one sees. Here's the thing about women's job transitions. They're not career moves, they're life reconfigurations. Men are often told to step up. Women are often told to figure it out. And we do. Every time. Often quietly, and often carrying more than anyone realises. I've seen women restart careers after a decade out to raise kids and outrun people who never stopped. I've seen women leave toxic workplaces with nothing but a folder of transferable skills, a prayer, and build themselves out of dust. I've seen women hit 40 and say, actually, none of this fits me anymore. And then design an entirely new reality from scratch. We talk about job mobility like it's strategic. For many women, it's survival, self-respect, or finally claiming the space they were always qualified for, but never encouraged to take. Women don't transition because it's easy. We transition because we refuse to let our story end in a job that shrinks us. And with every change, whether it's a leap or a nudge or a shove, we gather more courage, more clarity, more evidence that reinvention isn't a risk, it's an actual skill set. So if you're wondering whether you're allowed to shift careers, ask for more help, step sideways, step back, step up, or start again at 46, 52, or 61. Let me be very clear. Women have been reinventing themselves under far tougher circumstances for centuries. We are not late, you are not behind, you're simply arriving at your next chapter, exactly on time. Changing. Sorry for the men in the room, but let's talk about perimenopause, and for those that are in menopause. This is why I have no shoes on right now. So in my friendship group now, I call myself the unofficial chief test pilot for women's health. If there's a supplement promising clarity, focus or cooling, I will try it, chart it, report back with the seriousness of a clinical trial, minus the lab coat, plus a fan. Here's what I've learned. Hormones are bloody wild. 1 minute you're presenting brilliantly, 7 minutes later you're crying at a supermarket ad about oranges. My internal weather app says partly professional with a chance of tears. But the season hasn't weakened me. It's made me more empathetic, more humorous, more connected. It's softened my edges just enough to let more people in, including myself. I'm going to tell you a quick story just so you can probably get the gravitas about how unhinged this space is. And it's probably quite relatable. I'm going off script. So the other day, I did a Coles Uber order and I ordered Coke Zero. And I ordered bottles. And I don't know why, because I never order bottles. And then I was renovating the house on the weekend. I got offered a glass of Coke. Now, a glass of Coke was presented to me in a stemless wine glass full of ice with Coke in it, which in any other circumstance would have been very lovely. Until I took a sip of the said Coke, spilt it all down myself, went into a rage because it was so stupid. So then I looked at the glass of Coke, went, who puts this much ice in a glass of Coke? Who puts Coke in a stemless wine glass? Like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I got up from the couch and I stomped over to the kitchen and I sat the glass on the bench as I took my shirt off in front of the whole household to stomp down the stairs to the laundry to put one piece of clothing in the washing, which, to be frank, pissed me off more than anything else. Because as soon as I shut it, I stood there for 5 minutes going, I've just killed the environment. There was plenty of clothes in the house that needed to be washed. I'm getting judged on all angles, and I can't open it now because it's already started to cycle. So then I stomped back up the stairs, and at no point during this point had I stopped myself and went, you need to calm down. Like, this is not this bad. And then I stood there and I looked at the said Coke for like 3 minutes, and I went, this is not that bad. Like, you need to have a moment. So for you all to know, I did calm down, but I have not touched Coke since. I refuse to have ice in a drink, and I will never use those stemless wine glasses again. So if you're in it, you're not broken. You're literally upgrading your operating system. Sometimes you just need to reboot and bring the cardigan. So transitions get marketed as empowering and elegant. In real life, they're messy. They show up with no heels as well. Self-doubt is an uninvited guest who arrives early, eats all the dip, and then asks if there's any more dip. When my daughter finished school, I doubted whether I'd done enough. I have. She's amazing, by the way. When I moved, I doubted whether I could rebuild. When my career accelerated, I doubted whether I could keep up. When my identity shifted, I doubted whether I was still me. Here's the reframe I want you to keep. Self-doubt doesn't signal inadequacy. It signals expansion. It shows up exactly when you're stretching into a new version of yourself. Imposter syndrome isn't proof you don't belong. It's a sign you're in the right room, growing new muscles. Transitions don't require perfection. They require courage, humour, and support. Before we talk about women supporting women, let's be clear, gender equity does not come from women alone. Equity is not a zero-sum game. It's about fair access to opportunity, resources, and respect so everyone can thrive. That includes men. In fact, real equity needs men. What does equity for men look like? Parental leave without side-eye. Men taking leave isn't helping, it's parenting. Flexible work that isn't coded female, so dads, carers, and community builders can show up without penalty. Psychological safety, permission for men to say, I'm not okay, and be met with support, not judgment. Allyship and action, sponsor great talent, challenge bias in the room, share the mic, and sometimes just pass it over entirely. When men are included and genuinely included, women don't lose ground. We do gain allies. Equity doesn't diminish anyone, it expands possibilities for everyone. So no one navigates transitions alone. Not successfully. Your tribe is the board of directors in your life. The wine friend shows up in any crisis, no questions asked. The spreadsheet friend turns your chaos into a plan with tabs and conditional formatting. The hype friend reminds you who you are when you forget. The truth teller loves you enough to say, you're playing it a bit small, or that dress does look terrible. wish someone would have said that to me this morning. I probably should have called you to say, should I wear stockings and heels? Noted. The have you eaten friend, because protein does solve more problems than we like to admit. Your tribe doesn't remove the obstacle, they just reduce the weight of it. Strong women aren't self-made, they're community made. And the best part, you get to be that person for someone else too. So the lessons I had that I'm going to give you with both my hands. You don't get through transitions, you grow through them. Reinvention isn't the failure of the previous version of you, it's the graduation of it. Your brand is built in rooms that you choose to show up in, not the rooms that you're paid to be in. Self-doubt is normal, staying small is optional. Find your people early, love them loudly, and lean on them often. You're allowed to outgrow old chapters. That's how you know that you're still in motion. And if you are ready for it, you'll never do it. So just start and meet ready along the road. Transitions aren't interruptions to your life, they are your life. Every identity shift, relocation, promotion, hormonal hurricane, 2 a.m. decision that's going to shape the person you're becoming. And that person is braver than she realises, more capable than she believes, and stronger than she gives herself credit for. So thank you for sharing this space and for allowing me to talk to you in no shoes.
Our second speaker for today is Christina Lean. Christina is the founder and CEO of I've Got Your Six Foundation, a purpose-driven, not-for-profit supporting veterans, people with disability and their families to find purpose, belonging and a positive mindset. She leaves IGY6 with compassion, clarity and a strong focus on real-world outcomes, often referring to the organisation as her third child. Sorry, kids. Due to the personal commitment and care she brings to its mission. Christina is a devoted mother of her 2 children, Lucas and Bianca, give us a wave, whom she considers her greatest personal achievements and constant source of inspiration. Motherhood has shaped her leadership style, grounding her work in empathy, accountability, and a deep commitment to creating a meaningful future for others. Born in Brazil, she, having lived in Australia for over 26 years, Christina brings a truly global perspective to her leadership. She has lived and worked in the United States and the United Kingdom, travelled extensively across Europe and speaks 5 languages.
You're an achiever. That's why I went first.
This cultural depth shapes her inclusive, people-centred approach and her ability to connect meaningfully with diverse communities across Australia. Christina holds a bachelor's degree in social communication, marketing and advertising, a postgraduate qualification in business marketing, and further specialisation in marketing, PR, advertising in the United Kingdom. She's also a qualified neuroscience practitioner, integrating evidence-based neuroscience into leadership, wellbeing and program design. Throughout her career, she has held senior executive roles in marketing, business development and general management, and successfully scaled a startup into a 7-figure business in 5 years. While she is not a veteran herself, this close connection to military service has deeply shaped her understanding of the challenges faced by current and former ADF members and their families. Her work is driven by genuine respect for service and a strong track record of delivering meaningful results. She is particularly proud to have developed 2 Department of Veterans Affairs funded national programs, Life After Service, supporting veterans through transition and purpose building, and Beyond Service, Women's Veterans Wellness Weekend, a trauma-informed, female-led program focused on connection, wellbeing and empowerment. And Christina informed me yesterday that the Victorian program is completely booked out for this year. Seeing the success stories from these programs remains one of the most rewarding aspects of her work. At the heart of Christina's leadership is a simple belief. With the right support, people can build confidence, reconnect with purpose and thrive. Please welcome Christina to the microphone.
I sound better on paper than in real life, but thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I was thinking that I had to write down a few things before I forget, but I forgot to write them down. So I just hope I remember. I need my spectacles to read my speech, and I did a presentation because it's just easier for me. I know what I was going to say. Thank you, Kylie. You're amazing. And thank you, Kelly. You did just such an amazing job. Thank you all for being here today. And I'm just going to start by saying who I am. And I'll take this off because I can't read, can't see you if I wear those glasses. And it's just, I want my kids also to make sure you understand Mom a little bit more after you heard about menopause. So, thank you. I had a jacket on and then I felt cold and when I walked into the room, but I feel so hot now. And being in Queensland from Melbourne, it's not easy for me. So who am I? I was born in Brazil and I'm 55 and menopausal. I need a fan on the whole time I'm sleeping. I've been in Australia for 26 years. I'm a mother of two, and I am so glad that they're here. Lucas, who is a third-year student at RMIT, who's studying screen and media, and has his friend Billy here today, so thank you both for volunteering your time. And Bianca, who didn't want to go to school, she's in year 11, and he said, Mom, I want to go to Queensland as well. So she's here, and she was helping. I'm a grandmother of Dexter, who is a Cavalier, and I thought I hadn't got my all my equipment because I brought something for his collar and the remote control for his collar so he doesn't bark, but finally I found my chicken. I'm a partner of a veteran, and I have been working within the veteran sector for about 5 years now. When I started working with veterans, I was like, how about the families? There's nothing for the partners. And how about the females? There's all these things that are also male-orientated. Fuck that. Seriously. I'm allowed to swear because English is not my mother language. And I'm very, very passionate about the work I do. I'm South American, so, and I am so jealous because I couldn't take my shoes off, otherwise I would have. So I'll talk to you about transition, and when I talk about my transition, hopefully you can resonate with a few things about your own lives, how to get from A to B. I transitioned to a new country. It was at the end of '99, beginning of 2000. I changed my marital status and I had to speak. I don't speak Greek, and my then in-laws are Greek, but I had to adapt to speaking English all day long. And that used to give me a headache because at the end of the day, I was going everywhere. No one spoke Portuguese, and we didn't have WhatsApp and things that I could communicate with my family and friends all the time. I was judged by my accent, which at times I still am, but I don't care anymore. Everyone has an accent here. I had no family here, no friends, no job, and I had just gotten married, so that was amazing. I wanted to get married. I met someone and I fell in love and moved countries, and then the honeymoon finished. Everyone went back to work, and what do? I totally lost my identity. I had no confidence, and still I was adapting to a new culture. Although I had lived in different countries before, I was still adapting to a new culture. I had no community connection. I felt isolated. I lost all my relationships. I had no purpose. And that's it. So what do? I was so lost, and I was living with my then in-laws who up to today, they don't speak much English. So I had to learn how to communicate learn a little bit of Greek and mix with Portuguese, and it was just very challenging, and they're loving people, but it was still quite challenging. So I started questioning myself, why am I here? I got married, but why am I here? It's a great country. I love Melbourne. I love Australia. I love Australians. But the truth is, why am I here for, and what is my purpose? Purpose changes all the time. And I started studying a little bit of neuroscience and NLP because I had so much time. I joined Weight Watchers. I was walking, and you have to work on your waistline. I put on 7 kilos in the first year I was here because, like, chips are awesome. And I wasn't used to eating that, but eating that a lot. With every meal, I still can't. I comprehend, but I try not to. So I started thinking, what can I change? And the truth is, there are things, I started to learn that there are things that I can change, but things that I cannot. So the things I can change are my actions, my effort, my words, not the accent, the attitude, my thoughts, the boundaries, the habits, how I respond to situations, how I take care of my body and mind. Thanks, Weight Watchers. I still working on that. But it's so hard because in all of us, at any time of our lives, men too, I'm not taking you away from that, but it's there is that circle of what I can change, but there is the circles outside of things that we cannot change. And sometimes we worry too much about that, the past, the traumas. And both my parents passed away. My mom died of COVID 5 years ago tomorrow. And the day she passed away in Brazil, 3,500 people died. My dad passed away 12 years ago because he started to smoke at 12 years old, and by 68, his body just couldn't cope. So my mom was bipolar. So growing up in a house where we had everything, I was very privileged, especially coming from a third world country. But my mother, being bipolar, she was very jealous of my dad and I, and never ever in my life she told me she loved me. And I say that to my kids every single day, and sometimes I get this, but I don't care, I'll still hug you and kiss you and tell you I love you every day, because that is so meaningful. And my mother used to say, you're not good enough, you're fat, you're ugly, your brother is amazing, but you are nothing. And I went to her, and I moved here, and I am who I am. And we all have things to work on. But I couldn't change that. I couldn't change what happened to me. I couldn't change my traumas, people's traumas, personalities, ultimate decisions, people's opinions about me or about anything, team decisions, the direction of the relationships, workplace culture, my children's behavior, or stuff that people, Bianca, leave all over the room, community conversations, and the outcome of every project. And I'm not going to say I'm a control freak, but I like to know what's going on the whole time. But I can't change. I can, as a leader, I can request, but I cannot change how people behave. And that is just such an important thing to think about. So let's imagine today each one of us is in an island, and that's how transition can feel like. We are by ourselves in this place, and we are in an island, yeah? And I'll give you a map, and I'll tell you there is a treasure, and you can find your treasure. How easy is that, yeah? But I'm here, the treasure could be here, but if I turn here, it could be there, or it could be there. So you feel lost. So if I gave you more directions and said, you are here, but you still don't know if that here means here or in any north, south, eastern or west. Then I'll tell you the treasure that you're gonna find. It's near a river, and if you cross that river, you find it. Then I look around, well, there are rivers everywhere, so which way do I go? It's under a palm tree. Okay, that starts to help. That means that people around you, and like Kelly was saying before, it's the people around you or the community or who can support you. Just an analogy to that. But if you start seeing direction, you might be able to find your treasure faster. Or if you know, because you don't know how the distance between things, right? It's just how we can all find our treasures. And we work, my career here in Australia, continued to be marketing. I worked for a big hotel chain and then worked for an advertising agency and worked for big organizations. I worked for Woolies. And then one day I had this epiphany and I said, I don't want to work selling stuff. I come from an underdeveloped country where helping people, my parents always helped people through the Rotary Club. I wanted to help. So that's, oh, something popped here on the screen, saying connection. Sorry. So finding your treasure is not, it changes for each one of us, okay? When we look at this wheel of life and how we need to find balance in everything that we do, like mental health and physical health, and purpose and lifestyle, financial stability, social connections, career, family and relationships, we want it all, right? You want every single area of your life to be perfect, but it's just so damn hard. It's almost close to impossible to have everything at once, and we keep fighting it. And what it means is that for us women, okay, men, for you as well, but not as, for us women, we have a few more challenges. In my case, I had to be a partner. I had to adapt to a new country, focus on work and find a career, which eventually I found a job. But in Brazil, I was manager for the whole South America for a hotel chain. Here, I worked for Choice Hotels, who had just bought out Flag-Ins. So I became a coordinator reporting to this fuckhead who did not know half of the stuff that I knew. Pardon, I should have told you that I swear a lot. I had to compete with men. I heard once my boss say to me, "What? You are Brazilian, you are a woman, and you have an opinion?" HR told me, "Oh, that's how John is." And I was like, "Really?" And he did get sacked eventually. So I had to cook and clean, make new friends, have PMS. I felt homesick, not fart in public or swear, fucking swear, suffer harassment and prejudice, because when you have an accent, people speak very slowly to make sure you understand. I was once in this meeting and this lady said, "I'm gonna read this out for you. If you don't understand, tell me." And I said, "In which language are you gonna read? Because I speak 5. So. And we do have to do all of this in heels, right? So the pressure on women is not funny, and it's very, very hard. So as I started to study NLP and neuroscience and learn more and more and more about myself, then I had kids, I had Lucas, And my mom came when Lucas was born in 2005, and obviously I had just given birth to a premature baby. And she looked at me, so he was born in July, we were due to go to Brazil in December for Christmas and for his christening. And she looked at me and she said, if you go to Brazil looking this fat, I'm not gonna have a party for Lucas, it will be so embarrassing for me. So I was like, thank you very much. And eventually she had a party, and then I had Bianca 4.5 years later, and so many things changed in my life. But not only I had to adapt when I first got here, but I had to adapt having children, which you can't control them when and you can't slap them when they cry, or and Lucas would wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock full of energy, and I was like, when you're older, you watch me. But now he gets home at that time, so I just really can't do anything. With Bianca, she slept really, really well, but she had a voice. So she would scream anyway, and I was like, oh yeah, she's South American Greek, so that's okay. So the things that I have, through study and through investing a lot of myself, and trust me, I have days that I think, after what you read about me, I was like, fantastic. Maybe you can do that when I'm not feeling 100%, because
Anytime.
you wake up and you feel like shit sometimes, and you just think, what am I gonna do? But I try to do a lot of things for my own self. So what I've learned through neuroscience and NLP, and what has worked for me, and thankfully it's been working with our clients, veterans, first responders, because they don't get the white or gold card, and I'm like, that's not right. Like, the veterans go overseas, but how about all the people around here? So I've been fighting for a lot of things through NGIS and now through DVA to help women to incorporate NLP and neuroscience in things that we do, and not do always the same thing. And I'm not criticizing what's done all the time, and we employ psychologists. I think it's very necessary, but there are other ways to go about. And families, because I've never been in a situation where my partner was deployed, but I can just imagine how hard that would have been. So the things I learned is that gratitude transforms experience. Every single day, for me, it's like, whether you're religious or not, for me, it's something I do every single day. I thank God, because I am Catholic, but you can thank anybody, the things that I'm grateful for. It always includes my children, but it always includes people. Like today, I thank Kylie for organizing this, and I thank you all for being here. And it has changed me inside myself. And through time, it has changed a lot of things in my own life. What I deserve, because I deserve to be happy. And that thing, turning a business into 7 figures, it's not I got your 6, it's somebody else's business. Because at I got your 6, we are not for profit, because I just want to pay my bills. And I want to make sure that we help people. And what I am. And before I used to look in the mirror and look, oh my God, I'm so ugly, I look so terrible, I'm getting old. I never say that, because our brain is elastic and it's dumb. So whatever you say to your brain and to yourself, it's how your brain in time will react. Impressions I have of people who would come to me and say how wonderful they are and they can offer this, and that. Never judge a book by its cover. Like I said, the brain is elastic, and there are so many experiments, even with plants. And there experiments with water itself, that if you abuse someone, if you say negative things to even a plant, the plant will not grow and become beautiful. So I'm not telling you all to hug a tree or anything like that. I'm just saying to be kind to yourself and to be kind to others. I'm not going this way because will most likely tip over, so things are not always what they seem. So you will think it's something, I saw Jenny and Sally talking there, and maybe they're talking about me. You don't know that. They don't like me. That person looked at me, they don't like me. So it's not necessarily that. It's maybe someone is just looking at you, and it's hard. So if I told you where to put my attention, if I told you to have a look at everything that is blue around you, okay, or it's blue in the picture, your perception will be only of what is blue, and you won't be looking at other colors. You won't be looking at the pink or the green or the red. And it's putting your attention only in one thing is not necessarily how you'll be able to open your mind to see other things. And self-awareness and self-responsibility, because we are amazing. And this thing about empowerment to women, I'm all up for it. But let's work here first so we can be even more empowered to do a lot more. Not that we don't do enough. And what I can change. The only thing I can change is myself. I can tell people, or I can tell my daughter, cut your hair. She won't. I can only change me. And I don't want you to cut your hair. To adapt and make changes and make things happen, right? Because I won't be very long because we have a flight at 11:55 and talk about our purpose, okay? The purpose and what we've been helping veterans and first responders is to find purpose after service, to find purpose and not necessarily as soon as they discharge, but to find purpose in life, which is the main reason you get up each day. It's so romantic the way we say this. But coming to do any workshop or anything with us means that we look at the three kinds of people there are in the world. The people that don't know, the ones that know but don't act, and the ones that know and act. And that's the same situation. We all have access to anything and everything in the world. We just go to Google and I love ChatGPT. Mine is called Charlie. I go, hey Charlie, how about this? And Charlie tells me all these things. But if you don't act, it's like that procrastination. Or it's like going to a restaurant and reading all the menu and not ordering anything. So knowledge without action, which is procrastination, will never work. And you can just complain about the job you don't like, but if you don't do anything about it, you will never be able to change yourself. How can I help? We have some tools to make permanent changes, and like Kylie said before, we're very grateful to the 2 grants we have running at the moment. Life After Service is a 2-day workshop, and we will be doing 6 in Victoria, 6 here in Queensland, 2 in Tasmania, and 2 online. 1 online is about to finish this week, and it's been great with the people that has been working with us. It is available for veterans, first responders, and anyone who works with veterans. I'd love to see you again. In your bags you will find a flyer with a QR code, but it's on our website as well, and you'll be able to find dates, and please enroll. And if you're not a veteran or first responder, just say, I met Christina, and Christina said I can do it, so that's it. And my team is wonderful, the admin team. Veterans, Women Veterans Wellbeing Retreat, it's almost booked. We have 5 spots left. We are doing 6 women retreats in Victoria, because that's what I was approved for. I have all these messages on Facebook saying, come to Queensland, and I really, really want to, but it depends on the VA. So, and all the grants that I asked him from volunteers, can you do me a letter? And we do it for each other all the time. Both workshops will be done based on NLP and neuroscience. It will help with purpose, will help with self-confidence. And the women ones will have yoga and Pilates and walks and meditation. And I'll be facilitating with 2 other amazing ladies. There will be no men, but the other one, definitely, it's 2 days from 9:30 to 4 p.m. Please, I'd love to see you there. Thank you very much. Sorry I talk a lot, but I can't help myself. And I really appreciate you all being here today and coming to the breakfast, and thank you all.
Right, and we'd love to take comments and anything that you'd like to say to the room, any questions you have for our amazing speakers today. Does anybody want to kick us off?
We all started by saying, when you
Just
spread out that, we all started at our table when the flyers being read out, what have we all been doing with our lives? So I just wanted to say thank you to both of you. I've known Kelly for a long time, and there's still a lot of things that I learn about her all the time. She manages to speak in front of people when we manage to allow ourselves to be photographed, so thank you for sharing that. And Christina, thank you for putting words to things that especially women in our mid to late 40s are going through. It's a real challenge, and I can relate to the Coke story, but it is a real challenge for women going through perimenopause. So thank you both for talking about that. That's all.
Thank you. I could see you nodding your head, so that's good.
No, Jen liked it because you said fuck a lot. I didn't today. Yes.
I apologize. Really, no.
The answer to Ash's question is yes, Kelly is the person you need to speak to.
Oh, hi.
She sent me a quiet text message. Anybody else? Yeah. And I'd love to hear from the men in the room too. Don't be shy. Matt, I'm looking at you.
I thought you were just cross-eyed.
Well, there's 2 of you. There's Matt and Matt.
I just want to say it's really inspiring hearing from both of your stories, and as a very young person in this room, I have to admit I'm quite excited for menopause now.
We seem to be way ahead of where it is now, don't we?
I really hope so. But I do have a question. It sounds like in both of your lives, so much change has happened and so many transitions have happened. And, in back in the days when you just finished school, you were potentially studying university or just moving countries, what is the trait or what is the characteristic that you think you wish you'd worked on earlier, or something that you've done earlier in your life?
That is a really good question.
It's a
Kelly.
really good question. Jen's right, it will probably be in spaces like this where I eventually give a little bit away of my life. I'm ashamed to say that I started my career in reality TV. So, a little bit different to what I do now. I was sold the dream at university saying, this is going to be your career. I moved to Sydney. The old lady that lived next to me, I found out after 4.5 years of living next to me, I think at that point thought I was a lady of the night, because she didn't realise that my night shifts were post-production in reality TV, and I was like, be a very poor person doing that because I left the house in a tracksuit every night. It's not glamorous post-production on TV, guys, I'm just going to tell you. I did think about this a long time ago, because I had to talk to my daughter about it, and she said, what attracted to you that career, and what have you learned? And at that stage, I learned that by leaving was the best decision I ever made. And it wasn't until 4.5 years in, my dad got cancer at that point and I had to come home to Queensland. But I knew in myself, I wasn't going to sleep with a producer to get a promotion, so I wasn't probably going to get promoted. I was still very honest when I spoke to people and I had opinions on things, and that didn't go down very well in TV either. I was never going to be good at being in front of a camera because I did 2 late night news reels, and even I smirked when I had to read a story about a kitten getting rescued from a tree. I was like, it's clearly for the truckers in the audience, guys at home, no one cares. So I think when I spoke to Maddie about it, I was really pleased that it was the right decision for me, because I was not going to do anything that morally I wasn't happy to do, even in my early 20s. But I think in my early 20s, the grit that I had was just based on the fact that I was so confident because I didn't know enough about the world, nothing was stopping me anyway. So it was just blind belief that I was doing the right thing. And now that's based on the fact that I've stuffed up so many times and I've done so many stupid things and I'm so bad at things and I'm so honest about it that I can make decisions based on what now I feel like I'm good at. And then I'll still put myself in situations that I'm bad at. Like if anyone wants to come and see me park a car, like come. I'll add you to my group chat where I do it successfully and take a photo and send it to everyone. It's a real thing. I've done it to Stacey many a time. Like I had the mullet of reverse parks the other day where it was perfect on the road and then it was actually up on the curb. So that was like a whole 20 photos. But no, that's all I would say to you is that what you're doing now is just, you don't have to have a plan. You don't have to have a plan, you don't have to have anything. You just have to have what your moral compass says now in life. That never changes. How you're going to put yourself into situations, how you show up, how you treat other people. As long as you have that, nothing else needs a plan. Because I think the universe just brings you what you need at that time anyway, as long as you're willing to do the work. My advice.
I totally agree with Kelly. I wouldn't change anything in my life. I've always taken chances. When I moved to Australia from, I've always done things outside my comfort zone, but I never lost self-respect. And whatever my principles are, they continue to be the same. So just take chances. Just change the job. If you're not happy, and I've been in a very secure job in some situations, even here, for a very long time, but I wasn't being respected, and I had enough experience, and it wasn't easy, but I started to apply to other jobs, and I just took a chance in this. When I started working within the NDIS sector, I wanted to work in health, so I worked in NDIS as well as aged care at the same time. And I had a job prior to that making a lot of money. And I just said, I can't continue, it's not good for my mental health. And I worked for this startup in NDIS, whose boss was the owner. He had an acquired brain injury, smoked pot all day. He was transitioning, and so he was taking hormones as well. And he used to undermine me in meetings, but we had a great relationship, although it was a bit abusive. But I turned the business into quite a lot of money, almost 7 figures, so in 5 years. But then I thought, I don't want that anymore. I wanted to do something meaningful, and I just left the business and started my own from my own little table, and just took the chance, and here I am. And I don't make that much money anymore like I used to, but I meet so many wonderful people. So take the chance.
And I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to swear. As a young person, particularly as a young woman, you don't have to put up with other people's shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take it from somebody who's been there and done that. Don't put up with it. Call it out. Find an ally. Find somebody who's got your corner. Don't put up with other people's shit.
Yep.
There's always some grizzled old woman in the corner who's really
Oh yeah, yeah. Look, hey, look, and
I was actually about to say, just call us.
Just call us. Right? Yeah. Find an ally, and whether it's another woman, whether it's another man, find an ally. So you don't have to go through some of the stuff we went through. My favourite one is, as a very young woman in IT, working for the Queensland State Government, I had a supplier come in to sell us some computer equipment, and he turned around and said, "Come on, love, sit on my lap, we'll give you a bigger discount." And when I reported it to my manager, a senior AO6 level public servant, he said, "What do you expect? You're a woman working in IT in the public service. Get used to it, love." You don't have to put up with that anymore. Because the women that came before us, our parents, my mother had to give up work as a teacher when she got married. So the women that have gone before us paved the way for us, and we have paved the way for you, so you don't have to put up with other people's shit, so don't. Matt, that Matt.
Thank you.
I don't think there's a microphone.
Yeah, I don't think you need to.
Thanks, that really resonated on in a lot of ways. It's great to hear your experiences. The language around it, I think I've been learning for the past couple of years around, I know what perimenopause is, quite literate, and when I took that even home to my wife, she was pleasantly surprised that I could talk the language.
So glad we could help.
It only existed 2 years ago, so don't worry.
Yeah, before I knew about it. I guess it's because of courageous women in our workplace and courageous women that led this issue, or led the knowledge and education, and led us to establishing our own bespoke women in aviation internal program. And that's, I guess, the exhortation here to learn from our experiences. Don't wait for we men to step up and do it, but don't be surprised when the men in the workplace champion it and pick up the baton and run with it and become your biggest supporters. So our workplace has changed because I think 1, 2, 3 women stepped up and the rest followed. But don't wait for us. If you're in a male-dominated head office workplace, don't wait for us to do it. But don't be surprised when we're your biggest supporters.
Thank you.
I've got a quick question if I can, after Matt's statement. So we tend to, this time in life, and I've just tipped over 40 and my life is halfway to death, which is exciting. What do you prioritise now in your life that you didn't necessarily prioritise 10 or 15 years ago? I don't know if 40 is a line in the sand, but it seems like I think a little bit differently now to life and what I'm prioritising in my life. Work's not the biggest thing, despite my boss sitting next to me. Work is not the biggest thing in my life anymore. I've got other priorities. But what are your priorities now that maybe weren't a priority 10 or 15 years ago?
My kids.
Yeah, our kids. And now that my kids are older, my youngest is nearly 21, supporting them so that they can navigate, or giving them the tools to navigate a world that's very different to the world that I went through when I was 21. And doing this stuff for women in our industry. They're my 2 big things that have changed over the last 5 years that are far more important to me than the money I earn, the size of my house, what sort of car I drive. The things that are important to a 20-year-old are really not important as a 55-year-old.
And I think, I don't want to be rude in front of your boss, but don't want to get you in trouble. However, do a work that is meaningful to you. My work is very meaningful to me. It's do something that you wake up every day and say, I'm doing something that means a lot to me. Yes, I said my kids, but you have to think, if you're on the plane and the masks could fall, you first look after yourself and then the other person. So the first thing is for you to be well, especially mentally, to then be able to do other things. So my kids are my second priority, just after me. Then comes the dog, then but work is very, very, very important, has been meaningful.
I'm going to say, well, firstly two. I just want to point out, sorry, not Matt 2, which is what you'll be referred to for the purpose of this. Matt 1 and Crowe, Andrew. Just so you all know, they're actually amazing men. I'm sure you are too, Matt, but I don't know you that well.
Oh, I do. He's amazing.
You're on the list. But we were talking about allies and sponsors, and literally really good friends of mine show up, support, let me dump them into things, but have had our backs in more situations than I would ever like. So just so you all know, they are safe human space, incredible men. But I want to do, I don't think there's balance, and why does there have to be? I think where I'm at now is I want to do everything all at once, and we laugh when we say it's world domination, because I feel like you have a very short period of time where you're confident enough in yourself to have impact, where it kind of all makes sense, and you know then what you really love and what you want to achieve. So I don't want to slow down now. I want world domination. I want to do all the things at once. I want to work in communities. I want to make a real change. And because, you know, like my dad that died suddenly, you know, if I died at 60, which now I think about things in time, I've got a short period of time to do a maximum amount of things because there's no guarantee that I'll be here. So I'm just going to run at everything, whether it's shoeless or in Crocs or however I do it, and everyone just needs to nod and smile. But like, that's the priority. And I know where you're at because we've had a lot of conversations with it, but I think that's what's important to me. Now, I just want to meet more people and help more people and do more things, and everyone just needs to get out of my way and let me.
And a very, very wise friend of mine said, don't aim for work-life balance because it's a fallacy.
Yeah.
Aim for moments of equilibrium.
And don't worry too much about others. You know, like I would never wear Vegas or to the beach, and now I go to the gym, and this gym has a pool, which is the only thing I like doing, and I know I need a little more exercise than that. But I go to the gym and I say to my kids, the mermaid is going in the pool. Or look at me, I'm an Olympian, and they say if it's like the aged care Olympics. So, but I don't care. I just it's like that. You still be nice to people and courteous, but why worry too much about others?
And can I just say as well, like often as older-ish women, we talk about perimenopause and menopause like it's a bit of a horror story, and it actually is. But also what it is a shedding of skin, right? Like it's this way of you going, you know what you were saying before, around going, actually I don't give a fuck about what you think anymore. Like we spend a lot of time as young women worrying about that. Yeah. And the drop in progesterone means you go, actually, that was the I care hormone, and it goes through the floor. So like, actually, I don't care anymore.
But what you do care about is somebody stacking the dishwasher the right way.
My mum color-codes the pants to the clothes.
It's not all a horror show. It is a rough ride, I would say, but it's not. It is really empowering at the end of it. It's the remaking of you into something else, ready for the next phase of your life.
Thank you for swearing, by the way.
Oh God, no.
I've made a concerted effort not to today, but I was being genuine. Telling each other to fuck off. I got told to fuck off, or don't fuck off, like don't fuck up. It's how we love each other. Yeah.
There are so many.
It's got so many connotations.
And don't apologise for that. So my daughter is currently working at Tropical Reef Shipyard in the shipyard with a bunch of tradies, and she has learnt some amazing new words. I'm learning some great.
Oh yeah, Maddie's 18 and it's a whole nother list of swear words that I have.
With me, because I'm still learning it.
That's the second part of today's presentation.
I learned a lot when the first time I went to an AFL game, and it was like Collingwood versus whatever. And I sat with the Collingwood.
I'm sorry.
Because most of them didn't have team. And I learned these words, and I was thinking about the people, like the population. They said these words that I had never heard before. I'm not going to repeat it first of all. It's just, I love it. And I love the Australianisms that I never used to understand. And you ask someone, they say, no, yeah. Good on you, mate, yeah. No.
I know if you teach me to swear in different languages, I'll teach you Australian, English, and Canadian swearing.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, I'll take Canadian.
We went
Yeah,
to
it's good.
It'd be nice
Greece
Yeah.
with family,
Maple
and
syrup.
Nicholas came back and went to school. He was 9 or 10, and the class said, "Oh, can you teach us something in Greek?" And he could have taught them good morning or anything. He said, "Mawaka." It was one of my proudest moments.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank these two amazing ladies for being here today and to giving their time.
Yeah, and to kindly.
I hope you not only enjoyed your meal, and look, there's still plenty of food on the table, eat it please. The company of the people you shared it with, you have learnt something and have something that you can take away with you, even if it's some creative new swearing. And that concludes the formal proceedings from today. I'd like you to invite you to stay. We've got this room until 9:30. Meet some other people. Make sure you scan everybody's QR code so you, as you're brand new, started your job on Tuesday, brand new job. All of us have QR codes that will give you our LinkedIn profiles. Have a chat with Christina. Have a chat with Kelly. I'm looking at you, Ash. Enjoy another cup of coffee or two. And the only other thing is we're going to put a basket at the door. When you finish with the lanyards, I'll get you to pop them in there. So thank you very much.